want to be able to take these learnings and these new institutions to their fullest extent, we also need to be able to implement them in the real world, which means having jurisdictions where, the Bitcoin nation, the sovereign nation is able to implement its ideals.
Do you have a group of people or a cultural, example?
Yes.
That you think is useful for us to draw from?
So, we're sitting in Prague right now, and Prague, like many European cities, has gorgeous synagogues, right? Jewish places of worship that are empty. Across Europe, there are these gorgeous synagogues that have no community left, and that's because there was a significant trauma that occurred to these people, the Jews in Europe, early in last century. Now, but the fact that it's in every single European city tells you something interesting. This was not a people. These were a coherent people, but they were not based on a jurisdiction.
Nodes.
Yeah,
essentially.
They were nodes.
Synagogues
are nodes, exactly. Right? These were the people, and the way you run a full node in Judaism is you have to get 10 people together, right? And you have a codex, right? They've got all of the Jewish writings, and this is sort of their code. Now, that's not the only example of a network nation that has ever existed. There's many others, but it is interesting. The Jews are interesting because the Jews are the only network nation that ever started out like as this network and then incorporated themselves into a jurisdiction, right, which is called Israel. Now, you might have all kinds of opinions about Israel. Some people like Israel, some people don't like Israel. That's not relevant to this particular conversation.
We don't need to back up. We have 2 minutes to
Sure. I think the point is that this is doable. And if it was doable then, at a time when, the world was going through a significant shift from colonialism to the nation state, I think we're now going through a significant shift from the nation state to, we don't know quite what comes next, but this is the opportunity for us to learn and see, from this example that it is a possible thing to do and to create our own jurisdiction or jurisdictions. And so I think that, the first 12 years of Bitcoin was 0 to nation-state adoption. I think the next 12 years are from network nation to nation with jurisdiction. In other words, in step 1, we got nation-state adoption. In step 2, we will create the network nation.
So, in other words, people are talking about, I find it always so funny, I have for 12 years, that governments are going to ban Bitcoin. Yeah. I never believed that narrative. I never thought it was possible because they haven't been able to ban prostitution. They haven't been able to ban drug use. They haven't been able to ban weapon sales. What has a government ever succeeded in banning? So would it be correct in saying that next 12 years is Bitcoin banning governments?
Yeah, I think exactly right? So I don't think there's a chance, there's not a snowball's chance in hell of governments banning Bitcoin. But it might be that if we do our jobs right, Bitcoin, bans governments.
Thanks so much for coming here and having this conversation with me and the rest of our audience, man. It's a pleasure working together with you.
Absolutely.
Cheers.